Using the subcontractor comparison facility to add subcontractor costs to the bill items. Now this can also be used to enter the subcontractor costs into the bill items, even if you've only gone to one subcontractor for the costs. So obviously you must have already added in the bill items for there, and then you need to assign them to the trade. And this can either be done by clicking on the drop-down box there and selecting the required trade, or it's easier to select all the items that you want in one go. So if we select all our electrical items and go across to say show or assign subtrade to selected items, select electrical, and then it will automatically put that there for you. So let's do again the same for our flooring. So we select any flooring items, go across, select flooring. Now if you want to just see one trade grouped together, go back to this drop down box, select the trade that you want, and then it will just display the relevant trade within there. So once you've got all your bill items set up with all the trades, all the trades that you're going to put costs against, go to your subcontract tenders. Now you probably will have already sent out your invitation to tenders, and there's another training video on how to do that. So assuming now that we've got our prices back in from these 3 subcontractors, we go to the bottom and say select trade for comparison screen. So we want to compare all the electrical items. So this will now generate a line for each of your bill items that are being assigned to that relevant trade. And then each column will be headed with the subcontractor that you've gone out to tender to. And then we can start to put their prices in. So to supply and wire new LED lights, that might be that he came in at 1,200 odd. James Electrical might have come in at 1,300, and Normax might have been way over with 1,500. Spine and wire, the foam points, they might have been wanting £14, say 30, 12. I'll just put any figures into here. 17.50. Let's say they came in a bit dearer at 18, and then they were 19. Sockets, say we'll go at £17, 60, 14, and then disconnect all the existing power. They might have wanted 750, 650, 500. So we go through and put the various rates in for each item, and the system will sum up each subcontractor's totals from there. And then I can decide which subcontractor I want to use for this quotation. And to do that, I simply just click on the button there that says use. So I click on that. System just wants me to confirm that I'm happy to do that, and I say yes, use James Electrical Contractors. System will now know that I've used that contractor in my quote. If I go back to my subcontract tenders, it's automatically put in the value of all the tenders from my comparison screen. If I just go back to the electrical there, so it's summed up all of those and it's put the final price into there, and it's also indicated the fact that I'm using James Electrical in my quote. Now if I go to the bill schedule of works, you'll see here the system's automatically added, said the subtrade cost auto added to the various items, although it hasn't actually shown the figure at this point, because I still got to open up each bill item and check that I'm happy with that price. It might be that I want to add some additional works to it. So I simply double click on the item, check that the price is in there, and if I don't want to add anything else, I can just say complete cost markup add, at the quotation stage, and then it will say that it's now ready for markup. And then I can go through each of these items and do the same. So just double click, check that that's the figure we want, add the price, print it out. Again, if I wanted to add some extra works to that, I could simply just come along here and say, yes, I want to add some extra labour. Say we're going to lend him a labourer to drill holes or various things. So we can say labourer, we'll allow 4 hours for that. So I go back to my summary. So as well as my subcontract costs, I've now got an element of labour. That completes that item. And so on. Now, if I go back to my subcontract tenders, now let's say someone came back with a price that actually we can do it cheaper, please use us. We can then go back to our comparison and use a different subcontractor. So if I say, well, actually, I'm going to use Lawmax, click use, it will now say that we're using Lawmax. If I go back to the subtrade, it'll indicate the fact that we're using there. Now if I go back to my bill schedule of works, you will see, if I just switch this just to show all the electrical together, that it's now removed all the costs I'd already done because it's reset the figures. So if I go back and double click on this one here, we'll now see that it's replaced James Electrical with Lawmax Electrical. So I just need to go through and say, yes, we're happy with that. And then it will make the item ready for markup. So there's just one thing to watch, that if you've assigned a subcontractor to all your bill items, and then you come back and then you change the subcontractor you're going to use, you will then have to go back to your bill items and open up each one to complete it. And that's all there is to using the subcontractor comparison. Obviously, as I said before, if you've only got one subtrade in there, when you go to the relevant thing, you'd only have the one column there. You still flesh that out with the figures and say use, and it will put all those prices into the bill items. Okay.